But
Might need to take
Brady
him home.
said he's going to stay with the greatest quarterback of all time. That's why he's taking the Patriots. I got to pick the greatest coach of all time. I'm taking the Patriots right there. Bill Belichick, 24-21.
The Atlanta Falcons, one of the top teams in the NFC. I mean, who are you taking? That's a loss. The LA Rams at home, but still, that's a Super Bowl caliber team. And then you got to go on the road in Week 17 to play the Seattle Seahawks. And again, that's a loss.
I went 7 deep in order of priority. These 7 NFL teams, if they started Tim Tebow next year, I'm talking about not an H-back or tight end. I'm talking about as their starting quarterback over their current incumbent starter, they would win more games than they would with said incumbent.
Obviously, you'll need a little time, but you're talking about a 2 to 3 year period once he's under center. Look out, because skill level that he has is certainly John Elway.
What's up, everybody? It's Mike from TBR, and in the world of football and sports analysts as a whole, part of the job is making predictions. How good will a player be? How bad will a team be? What direction is the league heading in a few years? Just breaking down sports and sharing any thoughts, opinions, or hot takes they might have. But often, and sometimes far too often, these analysts can be wrong. Of course, we're all guilty of making some bold predictions, saying something we might regret, or a prediction that never panned out. But today, we're going to be looking at predictions from people who do this for a living. It's their job. And unfortunately for them, if they are featured in this video today, they are most certainly not going to be correct. In fact, if they are featured in this video today, they're going to be part of a compilation of the worst predictions in NFL history. Alright guys, so this idea for the video came from a recent prediction from Skip Bayless, in which he suggested the Cleveland Browns have a chance at beating the Baltimore Ravens for the division title this year in 2020. Are you kidding me? I have lots of respect for Skip Bayless. Obviously, him and Shannon both took a big risk. Skip left ESPN and started his own talk show. But I definitely think Skip has lost his mind right here.
Again, you know, if you get Myles Garrett back and you still have Olivier Vernon and Ogunjobi, they got firepower on defense. This is a good football team. If Baker can play the way he did in several games when he was a rookie and the way he always plays against Baltimore, because he lights up Baltimore. He lit them up last year. I think they're good enough to challenge the Ravens this year.
The Cleveland Browns, oh my God, they went 6-10 in 2019, and the Ravens were 14-2. That's an 8-game difference. The Ravens potentially could have won the Super Bowl if they didn't choke to the Tennessee Titans in the playoffs. The Ravens honestly have one of the best rosters in the league. They don't have many holes at all. The Cleveland Browns do have a pretty solid offense, but Baker Mayfield still has improved himself. You know, that offense does have some potential in terms of wide receiver and running back, but quarterback, question mark. And the Browns defense has a lot of question marks as well. Another thing that Skip hasn't taken into consideration, the division only got tougher. The Steelers, they could have competed in 2019, but Ben Roethlisberger was injured. They had Duck Hodges, Mason Rudolph, 2 Randy quarterbacks having to play for that team. Now that Ben Roethlisberger is back, they're going to be in contention for the division. And guess what? The Bengals, in 2019, the Bengals were horrible. The Bengals were 2-14. And now the Bengals, they're not going to be great, granted, but the Bengals, they're going to be contending for some wins as well. The Bengals might be able to put up a fight against the Browns, which wasn't happening in 2019. So now that the Bengals are a contender along with the Steelers, come on now. The Browns are not going to contend with the Baltimore Ravens. Come on, Skip. Not a good prediction here, buddy. Now, Skip Bayless, he's known for his fiery spirit and the energy he brings in debates. On the other end of the spectrum, we have Adam Rank. Adam Rank is pretty well known by most people in the NFL world, but not necessarily for the right reasons. He's a little more laid back than Skip, a lot more laid back, and Rank has made lots of silly predictions when predicting teams' records heading into certain seasons. His worst prediction ever is probably when he predicted the San Francisco 49ers to be at a measly record of 3 wins and 13 losses. As you can see in the background, come on, bro. This was heading into the 2019 season. He predicted the 49ers to be 3-13. This was after the addition of Nick Bosa, after the addition of Jimmy Garoppolo, back from injury and everything. The 49ers depth chart hasn't really changed in the past year, and he predicted the 49ers to win 3 games. Now, granted, their late schedule was a little difficult, And the 49ers didn't perform that well in 2018 when they went 4-12. But come on, 3-13 after the additions they made. Nick Bosa by himself could carry that team. George Kittle, the 49ers they had a stacked roster. That team deserved to be the winner of the NFC, and they obviously represented the NFC in the Super Bowl, and he predicted them to be 3-13. It could be the worst prediction I've ever seen. He's made a lot of other bad predictions too regarding certain teams. Now predicting teams can be a little difficult, but to be off by a margin of 9 wins and to think a Super Bowl contender would be 3 wins and 13 losses, that is a bad prediction. It makes me upset. Okay, this next prediction, I'm not even going to put the blame on any single analyst because the entire world of sports was wrong about this one. Do you know who Jamarcus Russell is? You might not. Jamarcus Russell can easily be argued as one of the greats in the history of football at LSU. As the starting quarterback at LSU, he put up a record of 25 wins, 4 losses, ranked second all-time in completion percentage and touchdown passes, and won the Manny Award, which goes to the best college quarterback in the country. His performance in the Sugar Bowl convinced owner of the Oakland Raiders that he was ready for the NFL, but the Raiders head coach wisely was not convinced. Ultimately, they drafted him number 1 overall in the entire NFL draft. The Raiders head coach wanted the guy that was picked number 2. Who was picked number 2? Jamarcus Russell was drafted right before the number 2 overall pick, Calvin Johnson. Analyst Mel Kiper, and I quote, called Jamarcus Russell's skill level similar to John Elway's. Let's look at the statistics here. Jamarcus Russell averaged 130 passing yards per game. Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes both average over 300, 3 times more than that. He threw more interceptions in his career than touchdowns. Gonna have to go with my gut here and say Mel Kiper was wrong about this one. John Elway is a Hall of Famer who won 2 Super Bowls and 150 regular season games, while Jamarcus Russell, sadly, he is now a high school football coach. Yikes. Speaking of NFL bust, Tim Tebow, another National Football League quarterback, caused many analysts to look super foolish. Unfortunately, we're back to Skip Bayless. Hate to see it, Skip. Skip was Tebow's biggest fan through Tebow Mania, and he defended Tebow hardcore. I'm talking, I watched so many different videos. Skip Bayless was dead set that Tebow was a beast.
I got to 7. I went 7 deep in order of priority. These 7 NFL teams, if they started Tim Tebow next year, I'm talking about not an H-back or tight end. I'm talking about as their starting quarterback over their current incumbent starter. They would win more games than they would with.
He thought Tebow was not only a starting quarterback, but that he was better than Carson Palmer. That's right. The same Carson Palmer that all Arizona Cardinals fans love to this day. Looking at Tim Tebow's stats, people are like, how did Tim Tebow even disappear from the league? I'm even looking at his profile, and I'm a little confused. So the first year in his career, he only started 3 games. He went 1-2, not great. The next season, there was an open quarterback competition between him and a player named Kyle Orton. Orton ultimately won in training camp, and he went 1-4. Tebow, after that 1-4 start from his opponent, there was a public outcry, Tebow Mania, for Tebow to start. He started, he went 7 wins, 4 losses, and he got the Broncos to the playoffs. They went 8-8 basically that year. They won the first game in the playoffs against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then they got blown out 45-10 by the Patriots. GG. Now, that doesn't sound too bad, right? But it gets worse. I mean, the reason that Tebow didn't, finish out his career after 2012, his career average yards per game was 69.2. 69 passing yards per game. That's so bad. Oh my gosh. He only threw 17 total touchdowns, and he threw 9 interceptions. He wasn't great at actually passing the football, which is what a lot of people realized about him. And Skip Bayless was dead set wrong when he believed Tebow would be the next big quarterback that could elevate a franchise. Incorrect. All right, there's one final huge prediction fail before we wrap up this video. The final prediction fail comes from all of you NFL fans who think that the Dallas Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl every single year. Every single year I hear The Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl. The Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl. Cowboys might have a shot this year. No. The Cowboys haven't won the Super Bowl since 1996. Get that out of your head. The Cowboys are not going to win the Super Bowl again anytime soon. Stop saying you're going to repeat. You're not going to. All right, so with that being said, appreciate all the support on this video. If you guys want to see a part 2, let me know. Trust me, all the sports analysts in the world, I've seen lots of funny clips of some bad predictions. If you guys want to see that, let me know down below. Subscribe, comment, you're the best. There we go.